But then after a month, if she says, "Shall we get married?" I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna chop me up. You're gonna chop me up into little pieces."
Flag.
You know
red
what?
flag.
Oh,
red
that's
flag.
a red flag. That's a red flag. KFH. I'm kind of feeling a little bit sick.
Hennything goes, you know this year just gonna blow like I won't have it, you won't manage, so I'm real, I'm silent like
What's
magic.
going on, people? Anything goes back again
Goes.
with a brand new type of reaction. We're gonna do some true crime. We had a couple of comments suggesting we should do some true crime, so we're going to from the is this the Law and Crime Network? It is. If you've got any suggestions for ones you want us to check out, make sure you get them in the comments down below. We're watching this one just because I like the title.
She dismembered and cooked her husband's body after murdering him. Yum.
Seems excited.
Because you're a fat shit.
Huh?
Because you're a fat shit.
No. I don't want to eat her husband. Depends if you put some paprika.
Continue.
But before we get into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, make sure you get your true crime suggestions down below. Like the video, as always. Nearly forgot that one. Click the bell so you never miss a video. And click the join button if you want to support us even more. And let's get into some true crime.
But you never loved someone.
Bang.
But you never loved somebody like I just did. But you always hurt the one. Hurt the ones you say you're so deep in love with. You don't know nothing.
It's a bit of
You don't know what it feels
I think that this music's a bit too light for what we're watching.
It's like a James Bond.
I just want something from you that feels right.
Share it. I just pronounce that.
She must know how to cook. No food.
Oh.
She must know how to set her table attractively. She must know how to make her home comfortable and inviting.
Warning. This story contains extremely heavy themes. You should probably expect that by now, but I'm warning you up front. The details on this one are tough, but they do not involve children.
Thanks.
Omaima was an Egyptian immigrant who came to the United States when she was just 18 years old.
On my email.
She had the intelligence, and she certainly had the looks, but her pursuit of the American dream ended in a cruel American nightmare. This is the story of how a beautiful, intelligent, and damaged woman devolved into a life of sugar daddies, misery, and eventually, devastating murder. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth. Omaima was born in 1968 near the Sudanese border in southern Egypt. She was raised in a rural area rooted in extreme poverty. Omaima grew up in a relentlessly volatile household. Her father was an abusive man who was cruel and sexually deviant to both his wife and children. In her youth, she was forced to undergo female genital mutilation, which, as you can probably imagine, made intercourse unbearable and uncomfortable.
This is a bit heavy already. We're used to shadow men doing peekaboo from out the corner and someone just going,
Yeah.
This is 2 minutes in.
Wait. It was killer.
FGM. 2 minutes in.
Wait.
Oh,
They said this doesn't.
I need to warn you, when we're speaking about things, just use the first letter of what they are. Like,
Are you to warn me? You need sensory. You need sensory
yeah,
training.
but I know that YouTube doesn't like those words, so they will
Sensory
just block
training?
the video. So like the big R, stuff like that, if they come up,
M charge.
FGM, stuff like that.
I don't even know what that means. And they've just said.
They just said it.
I don't know. I seriously don't know. No, what I was going to say is they said it doesn't involve. Oh, now I remember what it means.
Doesn't involve children.
Yeah, and immediately.
But when she was a child, yeah.
the rest of her life. FGM, as it's called, is a traumatic and barbaric procedure that involves the use of primitive tools to remove the parts of female anatomy that stimulate sexual satisfaction. This is often done without any anesthetics, and this horrible act was performed on Omaima when she was only 7 years old.
Why?
Eventually, Omaima's mother gathered up the courage to leave Omaima's
Why did they
cruel
do that?
father. She took her family and relocated to the City of the Dead, a ghetto in Cairo surrounded by graveyards.
Why did they do that to little girls?
Contradictory to its name, the City of the Dead used to be a peaceful area, but in recent times, it has expanded into one of Cairo's largest and most dilapidated slums. The actual population of those who live in the city is unknown. However, it's estimated that there are over 1 million people residing there, rubbing shoulders, united in despair. Omaima, for a time, was one of them. Despite a rocky start in life, there's no denying that Omaima physically blossomed. She was stunning. Then when she was 18, she met and fell in love with an oil worker from the United States. Omaima's family pushed her to get married, and of course, the young woman consented without hesitation. Omaima and the American wed in 1986, and then she moved to the state of Texas to be with him. But it was happily never after, as the rushed marriage swiftly fell apart for unknown reasons. Omaima, still just 18, was now alone in America, low on funds, and possessed little knowledge of the English language. She decided her best option for potential stability was to meet men in bars. As a matter of fact, it was her only option, other than heading back to Cairo. But Omaima wasn't even going to consider that. So, she kept on keeping on.
I know what she eventually is gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But up to this point, it's like, okay, well, I mean, you move to a whole different country where you don't know the language, you don't know anyone. You think you're going to be happily married, and then straight away it ends, and now you're just left there. And now you have to just go to bars and chat to sleazy guys to try and make it through.
Mm-hmm.
I know she eventually is going to,
Yeah.
you know,
So come on, what's
special fried husband, but
okay?
right now I feel sorry for her.
Oh, that's what you're going for. Are you pretending to be sympathetic, or?
I'm sympathetic, but then look at the title, so.
She didn't really have many job abilities, but she scraped by as a nanny, maid, and other odd jobs that paid cash in hand for work. Omaima's beauty eventually led to her being employed as a part-time model, and this helped pay the rent for a bit. But after a while, she got sick of relying solely on her appearance to land a few one-time beauty jobs, so she started looking for other ways to secure some income. Then at some point, Omaima's means to earn took a criminal turn. She had a series of relationships with men for the purpose of defrauding them of money. She'd do this over and over.
Yeah, sorry if you've heard a bit of buzzing in the background up until this point. We left the big fan on because it's very hot in the UK right now, and we forgot to turn it off before we started recording. But we've done it now, so apologies.
Man, and town to town. As it escalated, she began to bind up her unsuspecting victims and threaten them with a shotgun while robbing them.
Gang.
Her ex-boyfriend, Robert Hansen, could tell you exactly what it's like staring down the double barrel of Omaima's wrath while tied to a chair. As soon as Omaima got what she wanted, she was gone, spending the money and looking for her next victim. She was cold, brave, and brutal, but she sure as shit didn't appear to be losing any sleep over her actions. In 1991, at the age of 23, Omaima eventually made her way west to Orange County, California, where she met her ultimate target, Bill Nelson. The pair met while playing pool in a bar. Bill was a 56-year-old Texan, and a big one at that, standing 6'4" and weighing around 230 pounds. He was a former pilot who got fired after he was convicted of smuggling marijuana and electronics to or from Mexico. He ended up spending some time in federal prison for his crimes too. But even with at least one felony conviction, Bill was known as a decent guy with plenty of people willing to vouch for his character in the name of civility. After Bill got out of jail, he too headed out to Orange County in search of a new life and even managed to bag himself a job at a mortgage company. He liked to brag about all the land he owned in Texas and was fond of flashing a bit of cash here and there to get what he wanted. Bill was also the father of 5 children and the grandfather of 17 grandkids.
How
Omaima
many?
was drawn to older men for a variety of reasons, one being that she believed they would treat her better. I'd also imagine they were prone to have a little more wealth, and I'm sure Omaima liked that too. Once she knew Bill Nelson was the proud owner of a red Corvette, I imagine she thought she hit the jackpot. Bill was wearing red cowboy boots the night they met. His colorful big character ran parallel to the huge belt buckle he donned like it was some form of clearance. Bill told Omaima that he owned a huge cattle ranch in Texas. Omaima wanted to be taken care of, and it seemed like Bill Nelson was her type, an older man with supply. The new lovers clicked right away and were so enamored with one another that they tied the knot just a month after meeting. They weren't interested in making...
No, we're not. We're definitely not fast forwarding past that bit.
How do people not realise? If any woman...
Did he say a month?
If any woman...
Did he say a month?
Yeah, if any woman... I mean, especially because, like, she's 23 or whatever, and he's...
Older.
And they're kind of not in the same bracket...
Of anything.
Aesthetic-wise.
Of anything.
And then she says after a month to me, first of all, why she's obviously with me because it looks like I've got money. First of all, some people are okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a month, if she says, shall we get married? I'm like, oh, you're going to chop me up. You're going to chop me up into little pieces. Yep. No, I'm good. Thank you.
I see where this is
even how I
going.
am right now, if I meet a girl and after a month of knowing her or being with her, she says, should we get married?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're going to get your scissors and chop me into tiny pieces. 100%. That's the only thing happening. I know we're making fun of someone that died, but
we're trying to keep it as
you have
light-hearted
to
as
keep
possible.
it humorous and
I
hopefully
think that's a bit far-fetched.
People just learn
A month.
from these videos. Yeah.
If she's opening the conversational topics of getting married one day after a month, you think, oh, chop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You?
No.
Oh. You know what? You're not getting married, or?
No, I don't agree with your statement.
Oh. So you are getting married?
No.
So you do agree with me?
Not a...
Wedding plans are wasting time. They had a telephone ceremony conducted by an Egyptian priest and then apparently drove straight to Phoenix where they found a justice of peace and made it all official. Next, the newlyweds took a road trip to Texas and Arkansas for their honeymoon, during which Bill introduced Omaima to his family. She was seen to be a tough, no-nonsense type of character. She even suffered a nasty fall off a horse on the trip. It was bad enough that everyone thought she should seek medical attention, but word is she took some aspirin, sank some vodka, and kept right on going. One of Bill's daughters even said, "That gal is one tough cookie." After a few weeks on the road, flying high on new love, the couple returned to Bill's apartment in Costa Mesa to get settled in and begin a fresh new life together. Bill even called his daughter Margaret around this time to tell her how well everything was going between him and his new wife. He was gearing up for the couple's first Thanksgiving feast, and it seemed life just couldn't be going any better. Bill asked his daughter to join them, but Margaret declined the invite, and that was the last time she ever spoke to her father. The mirage of wonderful began to quickly dissolve on December 1st of 1991, when a man named
Is it the same
Jose
year they got
Esquivel,
married?
was shaken awake in the early hours of the morning to the sound of a frantic banging on his door. Confused and still coming around to himself, Jose thought it best to look out the window first. There was no one there, but he did spot a parked red Corvette that he'd never seen before. With an uneasy feeling about the situation and, I'm sure, wanting to be careful, Jose decided not to answer the late-night knocker pounding on his door. Later that same day at around 1 p.m., the red Corvette returned. The driver again knocked on Jose's door, and this time he answered. It was Omaima. He didn't know her that well, but he had briefly dated her about a year previously. He was surprised to see her standing there, but she was bawling her eyes out, showing him cuts she had sustained to her face and hands. She alleged that her husband had forced himself on her, beaten her, and kept her captive for days at a time. She claimed she was able to free one of her arms, grab a nearby lamp, and beat Bill Nelson to death. She swore this through tears in the name of self-defense. Omaima also revealed to Jose that she had dismembered Bill's body and put him in trash bags. She said she needed some sort of truck or vehicle to...
Red flag.
Red
flag.
Oh, that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
That's a dark golden.
Wait,
on a night red flag.
It's a red flag now that he's in pieces. Now it's a red flag. That's past red. That's all like. She's been doing this with her red flag. And
Wait, no, that when I say red flag, I don't mean her actions.
What is it? Women's that chop people up and put them in bin bags. Is that an ick for you?
And then tell someone that they dated a year ago.
Does that give you the ick? Women that chop people up, that gives you the ick.
No. It's the whole fact of she
dated red flag. I want to date a woman like that.
It's more so that a year previously she was dating him and still came out and told him.
You know what's worse? Because sometimes when people kill people, they're so like out of their mind in that moment that they like say they chop someone up like she did. In that moment, they're so out of their mind. They don't know what to do.
You speaking from
No, I'm just saying
experience?
like from things that like this that I've seen before. They're so out of their mind and they don't know how to try and get away with it, that they just do crazy stuff. But she's left. I'm assuming she left, went to this guy's house in the middle of the night, and because he didn't answer, went back and then
returned.
No, like chopped the body up.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that she didn't chop him up, because she went there in the middle of the night, then came back at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So she was gone for hours and then came back. If she went back after and then went, now I'm gonna... That's more crazy, because she's had that time away from when it happened.
Just an asterisk
just
by her name.
Yeah, you're...
sister in disposing of the remains. Omaima offered Jose $75,000 and 2 motorcycles in exchange for his assistance. Jose agreed and told Omaima to wait for him at Bill's apartment while he went to get his truck. But Jose wasn't stupid. As soon as she left, he called 911 and reported Omaima's grim confession to the cops.
Oh, man.
The police found Bill's car with his new wife in it, and they began questioning Omaima immediately. But she denied ever having told Jose anything. She claimed that Bill was simply in Florida on a business trip. But while Omaima seemed cooperative, the answers she gave when questioned were a little bizarre and even contradicting at times. But what happened next raised the bizarre bar to a whole new level. Officers discovered a suitcase in the car containing human organs. Omaima swore the human remains were from someone Bill had killed. Among the body parts was a set of lungs with black spots on them. An investigator said that meant the victim was a smoker. Bill was also a smoker. They weren't 100% sure it was him yet, but at that point, they knew they were dealing with a homicide. And as gruesome as it already was, I don't think they were prepared for what they were about to discover.
Why is it? They can't.
That's a bad day at work. That's a very bad day at work. You're already pulling over someone that you think's killed their husband but you pulled him over. I don't think I could stomach a job like that. Just pulling someone over and like your job, if there's something suspicious in the car, you have to check it.
Yeah, you have to.
And you open it up and it's...
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what human organs look like. To open a suitcase and they're just... Yeah, no, this is...
I feel like it's
wild.
I feel like it's hitting you a bit.
Just because it's... I always put myself in the positions while I'm listening to it.
Do you think it's the details as well? I mean, in general, like, obviously, it's
Just-
like your imagination versus the details.
having the thought of just opening a suitcase up and there just being body parts in it.
Okay, two asterisks. Two asterisks.
Yeah,
is
two
by
red
our name.
flags now.
No, just two asterisks is by our name.
It was easy enough for the police to get a warrant to search Mr. Nelson's apartment, and that's where they found a number of horrific things. First, there were suitcases. The suitcases were lined with trash bags, and the trash bags were full of more human body parts. Then in the bedroom of Bill's apartment, the mattress was dripping with blood. Each one of the 4 bedposts were broken too, indicating some kind of struggle. Then the cops discovered a broken lamp and an iron, both of which contained blood, human tissue, and hair. But after that, shit really hit the fan.
Hold on, I don't like the way he's
How-
doing that.
how-
He's doing it. No, he's doing it on purpose.
How can shit hit the fan now?
No.
There's literal shit all over the fan. How is it hitting it now? There is shit everywhere. The hot air everywhere in the whole room. The biggest wind turbine, biggest fan you've ever seen. There's shit all over it, and now he's saying now this shit hits the fan.
I genuinely think he's being disrespectful because every time he says it, he plays it down so badly.
The thing is, with people that run channels like this, imagine they have to edit together all the pictures and I don't think there's any like surprising them now with people that do this all the time.
But it's like even when you're narrating, it's like oh, we found all these human remains and da 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 da. Now this is when it gets interesting. It's been interesting. We're already here.
The bathroom was bad. And, I mean, everything from here on out is bad. So,
Do you know him? This seems how like you would describe it.
Not bad.
No, when I say bad, I mean bad. That's how you'd have done that.
brace yourself. In the bathroom of Bill Nelson's apartment, suspended above the bathtub, hanging from coat hangers, still bleeding out, was Bill's hollow torso. He had been skinned. I told you it was bad. But then there was the kitchen. And the kitchen was something else. Human hands were found in frying pans, fried together in oil, with pieces of white turkey meat. They found pieces of hip in the trash too, with other pieces of turkey and cranberry sauce. And then when they looked in the freezer, at first, they thought it was loaded with bags of frozen vegetables. But when they removed the bags at the front, they found a large round object covered in tinfoil. After unwrapping the tinfoil,
Braden?
they realized it was Bill's head.
Oh.
And to their horror, it had been deep fried. This had all happened 3 days prior, on Thanksgiving Day. Omaima had claimed she had been held captive by Bill, yet investigators found that he was the...
She's gone. Oh, she's gone. Because you realise what Americans eat for Thanksgiving, innit?
Turkey.
Turkey and cranberry sauce. And that's what she was... That's what was with it all.
3 asterisks.
She fully... Something just went. And she was like... She killed him and her mental breakdown has just said, I'm going to cook Thanksgiving dinner. Head! Deep fried. Mmm. KFH.
with the marks around his ankles, like he'd been shackled. They weren't sure about his wrists because, well, they couldn't tell due to the injuries they'd sustained. And when Omaima took the R test and it came back negative, people really started getting suspicious. But finally, after medical examiners...
That's what I was saying to you, by the way. So he said the artist. Because you can't say
Kit.
that word.
The one with the kit.
Yeah, but you can't say the R
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
Stated that the wounds and the bruises they examined on Omaima's bodies were wounds she'd sustained while, well, cutting something up. She was quickly brought in for questioning and presented with a massive pile of evidence stacked against and, at that point, towering over her. After talking as if Bill was still alive for a while, Omaima knew she was caught and gradually began to reveal more information. She claimed she had no memory of killing Bill. She said she woke up and found him in the trash bags. She claimed it was demons or something inside her that told her to do what she did.
Oh, yeah.
She even said she had a vision of two blood-covered women that repeatedly told her that Bill had to die.
That is.
Can
like,
you do you recognise the sound?
No, that is like classic mental breakdown when they start thinking that demons and stuff told them to do it. That is just a classic.
Do you not recognise the sound?
Of what? No, I wasn't. I'm kind of feeling a little bit sick.
Oh, wow.
So all the little nice musical background noises, I'm kind of just...
I mean, considering what we normally are watching, I think it plays hand in hand because it's usually clips that look like this that is playing in the background. Yeah, as soon as you press play, you can be like, oh.
This is nowhere near like a Nuke's Top 5 video. Because that's just like, ooh, look, maybe a ghost.
I'm hungry.
Like, you're hungry. And FBI kicked the door in 3, 2...
4 asterisks.
4.
So, she killed him.
High score.
But if you ask me, she more than killed him. As investigators reassembled Bill's body, they discovered more grim details about what really happened to him. It was determined that he died as a result of at least 25 different head wounds. They believe Bill and Omaima had a consensual bondage roleplay session going on in the bedroom, and that's when she convinced Bill to let her tie him up. The cutting of the body was completed with such accurate...
Moral of the story is, say no to getting tied up.
No, pussy makes you do things.
You're watching this with me, say no.
But
that the coroner's office wondered if it was Omaima's first time. Was it possible that she'd done it before? And then when they weighed the human remains and it didn't match the weight on Bill's driver's license, they did some simple addition. Somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds of Bill Nelson was missing. A neighbor reported hearing the garbage disposal running from within the apartment the whole weekend until it finally broke, but investigators began to wonder if Omaima had actually eaten pieces of her new husband. Any beauty credit to Omaima at this stage was being badly outshadowed. Good looks weren't getting her out of this. After her arrest, authorities discovered a pattern of behavior in Omaima's fast-moving past, from the sugar daddies and robberies to even an instance where Omaima had been previously arrested for shoplifting at pharmacies. Another time she was stopped by 2 female security guards in the process of stealing from a department store. When approached, Omaima reportedly snapped and nearly bit off the breast of one of the women. Then when she went for the other one's crotch, she was able to free herself, fleeing for a short time before being captured again. The 24-year-old was put on trial for the murder of Bill Nelson on December 2nd of 1992. During the trial, the prosecution called her ex-boyfriend Robert Hansen to the stand. He testified about how she chained him to the bed one night before producing a revolver and demanding he hand over all his money. Luckily for him, he was able to break from his confines and take the gun off Omaima. But he didn't contact the cops because he felt humiliated. He was embarrassed that she got one over on him. And
yeah. Kind of led up to it though, didn't it? Like, if you think your girlfriend can chain you up and hold you at gunpoint, do you not think she's gonna do that to the next person?
Or worse.
Exactly. So, you know.
Yeah, you
I
definitely
don't
can't sit
care
on
if
that.
you're-
You can't sit on that
I don't
info.
care if you're humiliated. Tell somebody.
Yeah, you can't sit on that info.
Charges were never pressed. The deputy public defender depicted Omaima as a victim who turned on her abuser. He reiterated that his client was innocent. But the deputy district attorney, on the other hand, said she was a predator who was planning to flee the area with Bill's money, credit cards, and his fancy car after she killed him. The trial was marked by gruesome testimony of the horrific details. Omaima told the jury that she stabbed and beat her new husband to death to prevent him from hurting her again. She claimed she freaked out after and went into a trance-like state after the killing. She said she spent 12 hours chopping up the body to make it easier to dispose of. Chopping and cutting sounds were also heard throughout the night coming from inside Bill Nelson's apartment.
You see when the stories come out and then neighbours or whoever add their little 2 pence here and there, and now when the full story is explained.
The thing is, you'd be surprised how many people get so scared at either witnessing something or hearing things and thinking something's happening. They get so scared that they distance us. So like, I've had stuff happen in my life where people, like 50 people, witnessed something really bad and not one person came forward because people get so scared of any repercussions, or like it's just fight or flight at that point. Even if you're hearing what sounds like chopping sounds coming from next door, something in people just tells them leave it alone. So I don't know.
Maybe.
Admitted to cooking Bill's hands in order to remove his fingerprints. And she came clean and told them about how she mixed his body parts in with leftover Thanksgiving Day turkey and threw it in the trash. Then to top it all off, Bill Nelson was also castrated in another cold act of sheer brutality. Some of this torture probably happened while Bill was alive, and there are rumors that she was planning on feeding Bill to his family. This woman was absolutely evil. Omaima Nelson's psychiatrist classified her as psychotic. His statements painted an even darker glimpse into the mind of Omaima and just how deeply disturbed she truly was. She claimed that during the night-long dissection, she dressed up in a red hat, red high-heel shoes, and crimson lipstick as a part of a ritual. In Egyptian mythology, the warrior goddess for Upper Egypt is depicted as a lioness huntress with a bloodlust. She's often portrayed as a woman with the head of a lioness. She dresses in the color of blood. Omaima claims she started to believe she was descended from ancient Egyptians. She claimed that they communicated with her and acted on her behalf. Despite the lack of any evidence of an assault on Omaima herself, her defense utilized a forensic psychologist to assert that Bill had actually molested her. He was said to have demanded oral sex from her on a daily basis. Apparently this was coupled by demeaning name-calling. Omaima said Bill would get angry if she didn't follow his instructions. This is what they say apparently drove her insane to the point of believing that ancient Egyptians were aiding her by instructing her to dismember Bill's body and scatter it so he'd be unable to enter the afterlife. She wanted to make sure Bill wouldn't be waiting for her in heaven. But if such a place exists, I don't think that's where she's going. But one of the most shocking parts of this story is that Omaima claimed she prepared Bill's ribs in a restaurant-style manner, stating, and I quote, "It was so sweet." She elaborated further, "I only eat the parts with muscles, particularly thighs and calves, which are my favorite. I make a very tasty stew with the tongue, and I use the eyes to make a nutritious and healthy soup." Omaima's attorney testified in court about a lifetime of alleged abuse. He claimed she showed evidence of PTSD and described how practically everyone in her family had either beaten, tormented, or assaulted her in one way or another. When Omaima took the stand, she told the court how her husband screamed, "I bought you, and I'm getting what I paid for," before he forced himself on her, and she claims that was just one of the multiple times in which he did so. Omaima said she stabbed Bill with the scissors, then grabbed an iron and other weapons to complete his demise. During the trial, Omaima Nelson's assistance was requested in tracking down some missing evidence. The court stated, "We're missing about 130 pounds of Bill. You know where he might have gone?" Omaima replied, "No, he was all there." She swore to God that she never ate any of Bill and that she's not a monster. She said Bill had been handcuffing her to chairs regularly and even threw her cat out the window of the car once. She also said Bill threatened to bury her body out in the desert during their road trip if she didn't comply with all of his demands. However, she was convicted of second-degree murder by the jury. Despite their sympathy for Omaima, the 8-woman, 4-man jury did not accept her allegations about an abusive relationship with her and William E. Nelson, who was 56 when he was murdered during Thanksgiving weekend in
So he was 56 and she was
24.
24. What was you about to pause it for?
Second-degree murder.
Is chopping somebody up and cooking them and skinning them and
Please.
taking it all, is that not more
Yes.
charges?
Yeah.
Like dismemberment is a separate.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't heard how long she got yet, but
second-degree murder still.
what is second degree?
Like
Is that
the time you get is much less than first degree.
is first degree when it's like premeditated and all that, and second degree is more in the moment.
I don't know. It could be like an emotional.
It's American law as well. So if you know the difference,
Inform us.
inform us. 'Cause
Enlighten us.
American laws are obviously different to UK ones, but I did think that as well, that like premeditated murder is.
I just thought no matter what,
difference
second-degree
is-
murder is like I was. When they're usually listing off what people got convicted of, they don't just stop explaining and list the rest. That's why when you were saying that,
I had another thought while I was watching it, how like she took all these organs out and everything, and then said that it was like Egyptian gods or demons. That is something
they do.
they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
They used to obviously mummification, which is it's crazy how like she was probably young, learning all this stuff through a young age, and then like when she has a mental break,
Just
it all like
reverse back.
it all like comes back.
1991 in the Costa Mesa condominium in California. Despite the extensive mutilation of the body, the jury in Orange County Superior Court acquitted Omaima of first-degree murder after deliberating for 6 days
There you go,
and
that's what we was
concluding there was
talking about.
insufficient evidence to prove the slaying was premeditated. Miss Nelson was sentenced to 27 years in jail for second-degree murder, as well as assault, false imprisonment, and robbery of a former boyfriend, according to the Orange County Register. Omaima apologized for dismembering Bill Nelson, stating, "I was in a life-or-death situation. I would have been killed that day if I hadn't slain him." She was denied parole in both 2006 and 2011, but she still maintains that she murdered her husband in self-defense.
She would be
At the
out
parole
now.
hearing, Bill's daughter Margaret Nelson spoke. According to the Los Angeles Times, she took a few moments to gather herself before reading a written statement about not being able to introduce her father to her 8-week-old daughter. Margaret finished by saying, "I don't know the adequate punishment for a murderer who doesn't even leave a family a body to mourn over, but I do know you don't let her out. You're damn right, Margaret. Don't even consider it." Omaima remarried in prison in the 90s. The disabled man was in his 70s and has since passed away. But he and Omaima reportedly had 3-day conjugal visits, even with knives sitting out in the kitchen. Omaima said he never felt threatened or endangered in any way. She claims she really loved him. Oh.
He's definitely about to say, "Oh, what?" He was saying something about what the coochie makes you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are very like people that get married to people to prisoners and convicts are like the loneliest people in the world. Because how can the only person you find to be with in prison. How do you even get to the stage where you're contacting someone in prison, let alone
Tinder?
How do you have 3-day visits as well?
I was going to say that. That sounds like a...
Like, I was going to say that 27 years seems a little light.
Yeah, but that's because of, you know, all the...
For chopping someone up. But this is nearly 30 years ago. If this happened today, then I think it would be a lot heavier of a sentence. I mean, it probably has happened more recent than this. But should be out now, but I'm guessing...
Yeah, 100%.
I'm guessing it was 27 to life and she still has to apply to come out. Like, she still has to get parole to get out. I'm guessing she's in there until they decide
what
she
to
can
do.
come out. Yeah.
Whoever that man was is fucking mental.
Of course. There you go.
He apparently left her a large sum of money. Omaima will be eligible for parole when she's 58. That will be in 2026.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I'm sure it's not hard to believe that she has a whole following of deranged people that worship her like the god she thinks she is. But underneath the surface beauty on the outside of Omaima is nothing more than the rotting flesh of a cold-blooded monster. Another man-made demon, like her soul had been plucked from her body when she was only a child and replaced with a succubus that should never, ever re-enter society. She might have been a looker, but her eyes are empty. And she is heartless. While I feel for the innocence of the child that used to inhabit the body of Omaima Nelson, in my opinion, she's barely even human anymore, and you will never fix her. Letting people like this out of prison is a sign of madness. Omaima currently resides in Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla, where she serves time next to other high-profile criminals such as Louise Turpin, both of which who can rot in hell. Rest in peace, William Bill E. Nelson. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth.
Well, that was a...
Excuse me.
That was a heavy one to start with.
It's the first.
It's crazy how people like can
Cover that one around.
fall in love with like serial killers and stuff like that. Like all the most well-known serial killers all have like tons of men and women that are like in love with them and want to be with them and stuff. It's nuts. And she somehow managed to get herself a load of money from a new man.
Do you even remember like the crimes they said she was committing? Like the most let's go with the most dangerous crimes she committed before she before she met Bill. Should we recap on that? Is it
well, like the robberies and trying to bite security's titty off,
and then her crotch?
Yeah.
No, don't miss that bit. It's worse. Yeah, so like just like I think that the whole childhood is just pushing it into that.
We'll never know what it's like growing up in a place like Egypt, being poor and like
FGM.
like poor here. Don't get me wrong, being homeless here is bad, but like being poor in third world countries and places like that, not that Egypt is, but could lead to a lot of things. For you then to go to a place like America where there is just everyone just has things in abundance.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, like it all leads up to it, but there's still, I don't know, there's something completely different in people's DNA when they can cut a body up.
Strength.
No, I mean like just mentally, like imagine
an off switch.
Imagine what you'd have to do to even kill someone, let alone then hang their body up in the bathroom and remove their organs and cook their hands.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's many aspects of it that it's like the mind can do all sorts in it.
It can.
Like the mind's like the maddest processor there is of anything and everything. But she's already on a slippery slope of like, who's to say what's been released is like the worst of what she did,
And,
or what she
and there were still parts of him missing.
£130.
Yeah, that's not a finger.
Are you informing me?
That's I'm just saying, like that's not a little bit.
No.
Like she looks like she probably weighs
About
130.
$1.20, $1.25.
Yeah, like that's a lot of person to just
Not to be there.
But they didn't like mention
Or his original weight.
because they said about the garbage disposal was running all night and stuff, and they didn't mention whether they actually checked that. But I'm guessing they must have checked that and they didn't find it. They were still missing. So, but then she could not eat £130 in one night. So
we can't question what did and didn't happen when it comes to that night. That night was a mess. Or was it 3 days actually? Yeah.
no, it was a night because she knocked on.
It was 3 days.
Was it? Because she knocked on her ex-boyfriend's door in the middle of the night and then went back there 1 p.m. and he called the police and they pulled her over.
Yeah, but all of this happened 3 days after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's when she done it. You follow?
Okay, I don't know about the 3 days. I don't remember that bit. I just remember her saying she was cutting him up for 12 hours.
Yeah, so middle of the night to knock in at 1 p.m. isn't.
That's 12 hours.
So do you not recall hearing 3 days at all?
I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
you are wrong. But
I'm pretty
still.
sure it all like she killed him, went to her ex-boyfriend's, went back, chopped him up for 12 hours, went back to her ex-boyfriend, and then he called the police, and they arrested her.
Also want to raise that point because that's why I paused it. The whole point of me saying you're moving mad wasn't because of all of her actions. It's because she went to your ex and was like, "Oh, I can't believe I just done this."
But that's what people like will just go to the person,
Probably the closest comfort, innit?
someone they know, someone they think will believe them. Like people will just do anything to try and get away with it. So she doesn't know a lot of people, so she's just gone to someone that she does know and tried to find someone that would believe her to help her get rid of the body.
Yeah, I think it definitely was. She was definitely running on like cruise control.
Like imagine how different it could have gone if he decided to take the money and get rid of the body with her instead of call the police.
Oh, the next husband would have got it. Yeah.
Or he would have.
Definitely him. Something in the brain of him like, we can't trust him.
I was
Involved?
wasn't just expecting it to be so like
Exposed.
heavy for a first, even though I know what these videos are. But it's because we're used to watching things where it's like
We
don't know if they're real or not and stuff like that, and it's like fun to guess how they'd fake it and stuff like that. To this actually like happened.
Factually happened. Yeah, but you've watched true crime before.
I've watched a few videos of police interviews with people that did stuff like this, but I've watched their interrogation videos. I've not so much watched whole explanations, and I've seen like a few, like the don't fuck with cats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
But they're more documentaries rather than like, do you know what I mean? Rather than like just a true crime video. I haven't watched many of these.
I mean, nothing about this video shocked me other than certain details which I paused and spoke about because it's in the title.
Yep. But then I was still.
That's very descriptive.
Yeah.
She dismembered.
Yeah, and cooked her husband's body.
Even
then, I was shocked by the lengths she went to, like hanging his body up in the shower and stuff like that.
I definitely feel like once we started watching it and was getting into it and the details were coming out and flowing, a part of your, like you wouldn't forget that the title said cooked her husband's body. Not like that's the worst part.
I can only imagine that detectives and stuff that have to work on these cases and search the house and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure like their lives are over after a case like this.
Yeah, it's never just
like
one.
Imagine our job is now to go and search her house and we find all that. We find hands cooked, a deep fried head, a body hanging up. Your life's over after you see stuff like that.
I mean,
you don't come back from that.
You might quit. I'm not quitting.
I would quit. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'd be a vegetable after seeing stuff like that. Every time I close my eyes,
you will either develop that, like your brain will either force you to develop some sort of self-defense, which would be just desensitizing yourself to everything, which would just make you like kind of take a step back, or maybe you would become a vegetable. But yeah, dismembered and cooked her husband was in my brain the whole video. So no matter what they said, I was like, yeah, no matter what, it still hasn't hit. That's why when he started saying, "Oh, it gets worse,"
yeah,
I was like, are we at the juicy bit yet? This has been shit hit the fan. It was like, but this was the shit hit.
Shit has hit the fan. It's been there. It's all over the fan. Well, if you like this video, make sure you like the video as always. Like I said at the start. If there's any of these true crime videos that you want us to check out, make sure you get your suggestions in the comments down below.
Let us know if there's any other channels that
we'll definitely go take a look at these if you enjoyed them. Subscribe to the channel as always. Click the join button if you want to support us even more. Make sure you click the bell so you never miss these videos. What?
It's been a nice smooth run there.
I know, I nearly forgot to subscribe, which was the biggest one. Go click that. And until the next one.
No, I got a flow. When I react, the man's got cold. When I react, the man's got go. You little bitch, stick it in your reacts. It was a big react, the man's got no. Anything goes. You know this year just gonna blow like I won't have it. You won't manage. So I'm real, I'm silent like magic. Part with a man that also savage.